Alright guys, here we are then. It's Monday of week 4, which is the recovery week that marks the end of the base phase. So I've got just a 5k easy run to do tonight. All the runs are going to be easy this week, so it'll be nice and relaxing, let my body absorb the training from the first 3 weeks of the base phase, and then we can move on to the next bit. While we're out tonight, we're going to be discussing a topic which is resting heart rate. So I do sleep with my watch on, so I get the resting heart rate on the Garmin app every morning. So just going to see what that's all about, see if we can take anything useful from it, or figure out between us what it's all about. Any input would be welcome. See how the river's looking? Not bad, nice and clear at least. It's definitely been drier recently. Drier compared to how it has been. The ground's still wet, don't get me wrong. Looking at this resting heart rate then, I checked it this morning after I'd got up and it said 48, which is not untypical for me really. It's been lower than that, it's been higher than that. I looked at the average over the last week, which Garmin also tells you, and that was 49. The average over the last 4 weeks, also 49, so fairly consistent. And then the average over the last year was 50, so I've come down by 1 over the yearly average, which may or may not mean a slight improvement in fitness, who knows. I decided to have a quick look at any recent high or low points in the resting heart rate, and on one recent Wednesday in November it was 42, and then the Tuesday after that it was 52. So quite a big variation there. I'm hoping you can shed some light on what all this means really, because I'm not an expert by any means. I use the Garmin watch, I sleep with it on obviously, and then it takes the measurement just after you wake up, from what I can gather, which is when your heart rate is likely to be the lowest. You're fully rested at that point, you haven't got up and started moving about. I imagine that would be considerably different from what you might get in a doctor's surgery if they take your heart rate there. Looking at my watch during the day, it tends to be in the range between 60 and 70 if I'm sat working at the computer, for example. People often say that the watch-based heart rate readings aren't the most accurate, which is why I wear a chest monitor when I'm doing my runs, especially like today when I'm supposed to be doing an easy run, so I need to keep an eye on that, keep the heart rate down. I've noticed that, you know, tightening your watch up can make the readings different. If it's too loose, then it's not going to be reading the heart rate properly with the optical method. Just walking for a sec. This hill always gets me, just climbing up out of the valley after the steep drop and chatting away to the camera. It's a bit harder to focus on what speed and effort you're going at. So yeah, it's back down into zone 2 now. So I'm wondering whether this resting heart rate figure actually means anything. From what I've seen, a higher resting heart rate than normal can perhaps indicate fatigue or the onset of an illness, or possibly just that you're recovering from some strenuous exercise recently. So the fact that it could mean more than one thing means that unless you're particularly good at interpreting these things, then it's mostly guesswork really. Recently I've certainly not been able to catch any correlation to real life events based on changes to my resting heart rate. It goes up and down by a few beats here and there over the course of a week, but it hasn't really indicated that anything significant's happening or about to happen from what I've been able to tell. So what's your experience been with resting heart rate? Have you been able to get anything useful from keeping an eye on it or noticing changes? Have you any more in-depth knowledge than I have? Which wouldn't take a lot, I have to admit. Something that, yeah, I may be worth looking at or paying attention to, because yeah, I like to see it average lower than it has done, because when I was training for my ultra, it did drop a few points on average over the period of time when I was training regularly and presumably getting fitter, so that was nice to see. So at least it gives you a pat on the back in that case and says maybe you're doing something right. Your heart's working perhaps more efficiently and not having to work so hard or beat so often to keep things going at rest, at least. Right, there we go then. The first run of recovery week done. 5k easy in the bag. Managed to keep the heart rate nicely under control. Walked a bit on the steep hill, and yeah, it worked out nicely. So just got my feet up now to avoid any problems with fainting after exercise, which I have been prone to in the past. And yeah, I'll get something to eat after this. Nice hot bath as usual, and then she'll be ready for tomorrow's easy run and strength training. So thanks for watching, guys. If you do have any thoughts on resting heart rate, please do let me know in the comments what you know, and anything that I might find useful, and any of those people watching might find useful as well. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, it is free. Just click the button and watch the subscriber count go up by 1. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.